Back Row Ministry, the world premiere, Mr. Monty coming at you guys live and direct from the Kia Optima Studios. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed my video on decoding yesterday. Don't shoot me in the foot about my foot in my college football pick. One thing that you got to do with college football, and remember this, and in my next decoding video for this weekend, we'll kind of decode the Saturday games, kind of give you another kind of review of what I was talking about. But one thing you have to do for college football. Now, college football is part common sense, but we know common sense is not always common. Remember, Georgia played at home and lost, so that's one thing you always have to kind of add in. But when you do your college football query searches and you do your searches, make sure you do them both ways. And that's what I didn't do yesterday, because if we would have did it the other way, is also you do a LSU Clemson head-to-head. There's a head-to-head query you can use, College Football Reference head-to-head queries, and you would have got 2-2. When you do LSU, it was a chance that they would have went 2-2. That's what I went for when we're talking about this 22 thing and kind of keeping with the 22 thing. But if you flipped it, you would have had Clemson LSU, and Clemson LSU would have read 1-2. Remember, Clemson has not really fared too great against LSU, so they would have been, you would have saw their record was 1-2. So yesterday, by Clemson losing, they went 1-3, and they went 1-3 on the 13th. 1-3 on the 13th. 1-3 is 13. So that's the other way we should have flipped it, and you would have got the 13, and you would have saw that LSU was going to win that game. So remember, we said numerology. Stick to the numerology. Don't come away from the numerology, because 10 out of 3, the numerology is dead on point. It's dead on point. So that's one thing you got to make sure that you do, is flip it. Make sure that you flip it, and you'll get your number. I didn't really mess with that game yesterday. Just like I said, I haven't been messing with too much. But that would have been an easy hit, that 1-3, because the numerology of 13 yesterday. Louisiana, Clemson dropped to 1-3, so it would have been an easy hit. So things going on in the news. So been kind of peace and quiet with the Iran crap. Haven't heard too much about that, which is a good thing, because it was kind of getting on my nerves. But we see the Canadians in the uproar about the shooting down of the shooting down of the plane over Ukrainian aircraft being shot down, really starting to gather the momentum as they try to get the world to kind of turn on Iran, and that would, of course, makes a world war. You need the world to turn on this foe. Blame the Russians. Remember, the Ukrainians, Russians had their problems, so blame the Russians for the missiles and all this stuff, and kind of continue their World War III propaganda as they move closer and closer to conflict. So that's what we're watching right now, to see how the aftermath of the shooting down of this Ukrainian plane kind of stirs the world to make a move on Iran. Because of World War, you need the world to make this move, which in turn is going to turn the Islamic world against certain members, and that kind of is going to implode us into Albert Pike's vision of the Third World War, because this was indeed, turn this heat down, so indeed his vision for the Third World War. Also, we see this picture of civil war, and I talked a lot about civil war in England at one point, with Harry kind of distancing himself or removing himself from the royal family. And this idea I had a long time ago of possibly Harry running for prime minister. I remember saying that on many videos, that I had this thing that Harry one day was going to be the leader of England. But as the prime minister, it never had been done before. So that's something I continue to watch, to see if Harry's going to make that move down the line and try to make that move toward the prime minister seat. And we see this ripping of the royal family, and we get the civil war with the Afro-European sister now, causing the Civil War, causing the rift. Pretty much the African breaking up the family, as you want to say it. So a lot to see with how this is going. They're saying it's not true in their news report that they're still together. The royal family is still together, but we'll see how this story plays out. But a lot of good things, and it goes into the ritual of Civil War, and we'll see how they kind of attach that Civil War to the Civil War they want to have in America. Because remember now, we're still walking towards an American Civil War, just putting the pieces together. They've tried all sorts of things over the past couple of years to get us to get at each other. But I think they got another trick coming this year that's going to be the catalyst to get us to really go at each other. And like I tell people all the time, we really have to curb our hatred. We really have to work on not letting the program of racism divide us as a country. Remember, the elite don't care how they keep control as long as they keep control. And we can't let racism divide us as a country. We can't do it. So we talk about how the elite like to work their plan, and we got the Tessa Blanchard situation in wrestling, and oh, she's a racist and all this. People, watching programming and not buying into the programming of the elite. The whole Tessa Blanchard thing, if I sit and really thought on it for a minute, is nothing but skilled publicity. That's all it is. Skilled publicity to get you to watch something. If you listen to how it was triggered by Tessa, and the first thing she says on Trigger to trigger the cold trigger was all us women had to learn how to stick together. That was the trigger statement. And the minute after she says that, then all these women get on Twitter and go after her. Some people look at it as though, oh, well, now they're saying something because she's going to be the champion. Maybe there's entities out there who are not into a woman being the face of a wrestling promotion, and that was them fueling certain people to attack. But Eddie Murphy said this a long time ago, women are very strategic at what they do, and when they work together, they work together. And the best thing they do when they work together, they go to bickering and catfighting. And that's the best way for them to get attention, especially when they want to push attention one way. That's why this was said right before the Tessa Blanchard match. It was said the day before, and it was said that way for a reason. Tessa triggered it off with the statement, and then suddenly here come all these women. So now your mind state is, the average viewer, or even people who not really paying too much attention in the wrestling world to Impact, is, well, let me tune in to see if they're gonna not let Tessa win the championship. And some people still tune in to see if they were gonna let Tessa win the championship based on what had been said and what they were accusing Tessa Blanchard of. And of course, she won the title, and a lot of people tuned in to watch this. They had a nice, decent rating for that event and for that match. So when we say all publicity is good publicity, even bad publicity is good publicity. So a very strategic move by these ladies, started by Tessa Blanchard being the ringleader and kind of getting it started. If it's true, if it's not true, honestly, I say this, people say things that shouldn't come out the goddamn mouth. And Big Swole of AEW, she tried to squash the situation. So anytime I hear somebody try to squash it, meaning she's talking to both of these people. So she trying to squash whatever it is. There's got to be something inside of that. Something was said where something negative was said. But, if Tessa's a jerk, she goes in a long list of other men wrestlers who, if you hear some of the stories over the years, were fucking jerks and assholes. They said Ric Flair was a racist. So, it doesn't surprise me none with some of the behavior that goes on the road that some people do. Like I say, these are entertainers. They play a character. Outside of that, that's the farthest I'm vested in them anyway. If I meet them as a person, a good-hearted person, hey, then I met them. But outside of that, I really don't know Tessa Blanchard. I feel she's a great wrestler. I feel that She deserves to be the face of the promotion. I feel that the promotion really doesn't have anything else right now. So you ride with what you got. And you know, she's pretty much done it for the whole year. And so, you know, you give her the promotion and let her rock with it. So I think, you know, in my opinion, just a publicity stunt to get people to watch the show. Like I said, I think they had decent ratings. It wasn't over the top, but it was decent for that pay-per-view. And if some people expected anyway for her to win the title. But, you know, that's just how people rock, man. Twitter, social media, any media has always been used to kind of push things towards your agenda. So, you know, that was the way they did it, and you know, at the end of the day, you know, it panned out. Hopefully they got the ratings they were looking for. Now, what's going to be the aftermath, I have no idea. But we'll see as time moves forward. But Tessa Blanchard is the first woman to be the head of the face of a promotion. And that shows you where we're going with women in America. Right now, we're talking about this, the woman being the face of the promotion. And is this a telltale sign of what's to come moving forward? And that's something that, you know, has to be watched to see if this is the sign of what we're going to see moving forward. So, Back Row Ministry, Mr. Mahdi, apologizing for those people who picked Clemson. Like I say, if I make a dumbass pick, I'm going to tell you. But that just shows you when you're doing your decoding, make sure you do it, especially college football. It's the hardest thing to decode. Early on in the season, there's a lot of common sense, so I say don't fuck with every fucking game, because college football is done a certain way. But, you know, make sure you flip that decode. Make sure you flip it. You look at both teams in the front, LSU, then you flip it to Clemson, LSU, LSU, Clemson, Clemson, LSU. Get both of your numbers. And if you got numerology for that day, pick pointing towards one of those teams. And if you got some gematria for that day pointing towards a team, then that's what you ride with. But make sure you got your ducks in a row when you do college football. So my bad on that pick. You got my video, watch my decoding video to kind of see where I'm going with this NFL football. But, you know, I always tell people, do your own decoding. You know, get a vibe that you're comfortable with, and, you know, run with it. My vibe, like I said, was, you know, if Tennessee does make it, then, you know, I'm really rocking with Derrick Henry to be the MVP, kind of sticking with that 22 thing. And that's kind of where I was with the Clemson game, since we've been dealing with a lot of 22. But Green Bay, 10 out of 3 is going to be the team that's going to be there for the NFC. We can have Green Day, Kansas City, the Alpha and Omega, the first and the last. Remember that we got this XFL thing coming, so you can look at it that way. Or we could have, you know, I want to see San Francisco, but really it's not a lot going for San Francisco right now. So, you know, 10 out of 3, I think Green Bay can get them. It's a chance for Green Bay to get got, but, you know, let's look at some history for San Francisco. But the history is on, the history right now is Green Bay, Kansas City, due to that being the first Super Bowl. And, you know, 100 years anniversary, and you get the 100-year thing with, you know, kind of commiserating that with the first Super Bowl. And that's sometimes what they like to do. So if you're going to put some money on it, let's spread it around Kansas City, Green Bay, and probably Tennessee, just to get to the Super Bowl. And Derrick Henry probably to be the MVP if they do get past Kansas City. Because we all know Kansas City is notoriously known to choke. At home, they finally got over the hump, so maybe it's their time to get over that final hump. Mr. Mahdi, Back Row Ministry, peace.